Welcome to Chapter 12. In this chapter, we're going to look at advertising and public relations. First, I want to show you a couple of the 2015 Super Bowl ads that were incredibly successful.
When I wake up, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. And when I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. I would walk 500 miles, and I would walk 500 more, just to be connected with 1,000 miles, to fall down at your door.
And that, of course, is one of the most popular and widely shared Super Bowl commercials of all time. The reason that companies advertise in the Super Bowl is not just because they get hundreds of millions of people to watch it during the game itself, but they get almost as many views on social media afterwards. This chart shows you how much money is spent every year on advertising. As you can see, from 2011 up to 2017, by the time we get to 2017, total media spending will be almost $200 billion. It is an enormous market and something that is a big part of the American economy. Advertising is a popular form of promotion, especially for consumer packaged goods. Companies collect huge amounts of information and need skilled, creative, web-savvy people to interpret data coming in from the web, mobile, and other digital campaigns. If we look at how much money is spent on each media, let's take a walk through this chart so you understand what's going on. Oftentimes we hear in the age of social media that television is dead. As you can see, television is not nearly dead. In fact, it continues to grow in investment year over year. This chart comes to us from eMarketer, which is a highly reliable source for projecting what's going on. And you can see by 2017, just a short year away, we're talking about $75 billion being spent on television. Digital, as you can see also in the chart, has or will double from 2011 to 2017, and that digital includes things like social media. Print is declining. I think we all know that. If you look at newspapers in this chart, newspapers have gone from $20 billion down to 16, and magazines are about flat. And we're going to take a more in-detailed look at some of these media as we go through this presentation. Outdoor continues to grow. I mean, some of the things that we've already talked about in class, we've seen how some really unique things are happening with outdoor advertising. What's really taken a big hit is directories. Think the Yellow Pages, right? When was the last time you saw a Yellow Pages or knew anybody who used a Yellow Page? So what we're going to talk about in this lecture is the last P, the last of the 4 Ps: price, product, and now we're going to talk about promotion. We're going to talk about a specific blend of promotional tools used by companies to engage consumers and persuasively communicate customer value. Promotion is used to build customer relationships, and it's used to sell. Advertising is any form of non-personal presentation or promotion of ideas, goods, or services by an identified sponsor. Sales promotion is a little bit different. It involves short-term incentives to encourage the purchase or sale of a product. Right? So sales promotion would include coupons and contests and sales. Obviously, personal selling is when there's a personal interaction by a firm's sales rep for the purpose of making sales and building customer relationships. Public relations refers to building good relationships with a company's various publics by obtaining favorable publicity, building up a good corporate image, and handling or heading off unfavorable stories or rumors. Direct marketing involves engaging directly with carefully targeted individual consumers and customer communities to get an immediate response, right? So again, we're going to talk about each of these things in detail. Today's marketing communications tools have changed, right? Some of the factors that are changing are, well, first, customers are changing. In our digital wireless world, consumers are better informed and more communications empowered. Rather than rely on marketing supplied information, they can use the internet, social media, and other technologies to find information on their own. Second, marketing strategies are changing. Marketers are developing focused marketing programs designed to build closer relationships with customers in more narrowly defined micro-markets. Finally, sweeping advantages in digital technology are causing remarkable changes in the ways companies and customers communicate. For example, when Angry Birds space version of its popular game was introduced on video, it began by posting a 20-second video teaser containing only the game and the title, and that video landed over 2 million views. Today's marketing communications world, so when we think about advertising and public relations and direct mail and all of that, we call that marketing communications. Rather than using old approaches that interrupt customers and force feed them mass messages, new media, online and social, let marketers reach smaller communities of consumers in a more interactive and engaging way. The new marketing communications model consists of shifting mixes of traditional mass media like television and radio, and a wide array of online, mobile, and social media that engage targeted customers in a more personalized and interactive way. So rather than just creating and placing TV or print ads or Facebook display ads, marketers now view themselves more broadly as brand content managers. That means they create, inspire, and share brand messages and conversations with and among customers across a mix of paid, owned, earned, and shared communications. These channels include media that are both traditional and new and controlled. All right, so if we look at integrated marketing communications refers to the integration and coordination of many communications channels to give a clear, consistent, and compelling message about the organization and its products. As you can see in the figure, it shows how a company carefully integrates many channels to deliver that message. So when you see the Geico Gecko, for example, it looks the same whether you see it on a television ad, whether you see it in a postcard, or whether you see it in a coupon, right? So everything looks and sounds the same within the brand. So let's do a description of each of the major promotional tools. First, advertising can reach masses of geographically dispersed buyer at a lower cost per exposure, and it enables the seller to repeat the message many times. So when you think about advertising, advertising can be television, it could be radio, it could be billboards, it could be, what am I forgetting? It could be Facebook, it could be anything. But the idea is that it can be very expressive, right? It's used to build long-term image for a product, and it's also used to trigger quick sales. The challenge with advertising is sometimes it's impersonal and lacks the direct persuasiveness of a salesperson. So contrast advertising with personal selling, where you're actually having a conversation with someone, right? So when you go to upgrade your phone or you go to buy a car, you're having a conversation with someone who guides you through the purchase process. Sales promotion tools include a wide assortment of things like coupons, contests, discounts, premiums, all of which have unique qualities. They attract customer attention, offer strong incentives to purchase, and can be used to dramatize product offers and boost sagging sales. Sales promotions invite and reward quick response. However, sales promotion effects are often short-lived. Again, contrast that with public relations. Public relations is also now known as something called earned media. This is when news stories, features, sponsorships are someone else is talking about our brand besides us. Public relations reaches many people who avoid salespeople and ads, and it can also explain products for a product. Explain the advantages of a product, right? It can be very effective and economical when it's well thought out. So the object would be for us to get the newspaper to talk about our product, or television to talk about our product, or in the case of social media, some of the social media or blog people who follow lots of blogs to talk about us. Now, when we talk about direct and digital marketing, that would include direct mail. So there'd be a postcard in the mail, a catalog, or telephone marketing. They all share some distinctive characteristics. Direct marketing is more targeted. It's usually directed to a specific customer or customer community. Direct marketing is immediate and personalized, right? And it can be interactive. They want you to do something as a result of getting something in the mail. If we look at the way we characterize these things, we characterize them as two basic promotional mix strategies. One is a push promotion and the other is a pull promotion. A push promotion refers to something that sends the message out from us. So it could be advertising, it could be direct sales, but we're pushing our message out to the customer. A pull strategy calls for spending on advertising that brings the customer to us, right? Business to consumer companies pull more, putting most of their funds into advertising, followed by sales promotion, personal selling, and then in public relations. Business to business marketers tend to push more, putting most of their funds into personal selling. So what do we have to decide when we think about advertising? Well, the first thing is we need to think about an objective. What are we trying to achieve, right? And remember, all objectives have to be time constrained, realistic, and specific. So one of our advertising objectives might be to increase the number of visits to our website by 50,000 by a year from now. And then we look at a budget. What's our marketing budget? What's our advertising budget? And we're going to talk about how to set the advertising budget in a couple of minutes. Then we need to make messaging decisions. That is what we're going to say. What are the pictures that are used? What are the words that are used? And then a media decision. Do we run it in the Boston Globe? Do we put it on boston.com? Is it a Snapchat ad? Where does that fall into this? And then finally, we have to evaluate the advertising. Did it work? Did it solve that objective? So an advertising strategy accomplishes the company's overall marketing objectives, right? And it includes creating the messages and selecting the media. So some potential advertising objectives might include trying to find ways to communicate value, right? So we might suggest uses for a new product. That would be the execution. We might make this persuasive advertising. How do we persuade customers to purchase now? So we might offer a discount that has a deadline to it, right? And then we might also use informative advertising when we think about launching a new product. There's all different kinds of advertising strategies that we can put together. Then let's talk about the budget. The advertising budget is the dollars or other resources allocated to the product or company advertising program. There are 4 common methods used to set the budget for advertising. And hint, hint, this is the last question of your final paper. So do pay attention. The affordable method says basically we're going to set the budget based on how much we think we can afford. Now, if you're a small business, you might not think you can afford advertising at all, and then that might be the going out of business sale for you. You might also look at your competition. That's the competitive parity method. So if we're making pizza and the guy down the street charges $15.99 for an organic pizza, we may decide that we want to price that higher or lower than he does. And if we're finding that he spends $50,000 a year on advertising, we might decide that we want to spend either more or less. The objective and task method, sometimes called zero-based budget, involves developing the promotional budget based on specific tasks. So let's say, based on our objectives, we think we should advertise on the Super Bowl, advertise on The Walking Dead, run a Snapchat campaign and a Pinterest campaign. So we need to figure out what all that would cost. So that would be the tasks. How much are the tasks? And probably the most commonly used way to set an advertising budget is based on a percentage of sales. Companies look at overall percentage of sales when they set their advertising budgets. And that might be 1% of sales, and typically it's not more than 10% of sales. The newer the product, the higher the advertising percentage people spend. The longer you've been in the business, you can start to back off on that 10%. So if you're making $1 million, you're going to spend $100,000 on advertising. When we think about advertising messages, what do we need to think about? Well, first of all, we need to think about breaking through the clutter. How do we get, as Americans, we get subjected to almost 2,000 messages a day, right? So many marketers now subscribe to a new merging of advertising and entertainment called Madison and Vine. It represents the merging of advertising and entertainment to create new avenues for reaching customers with more engaging messages. Advertainment is what it's called, and it tries to make ads so entertaining that people want to watch them. Think about that Super Bowl ad I showed you with the puppy and the horses, right? It's branded entertainment involves making the brand an inseparable form of the brand and the entertainment. So the first step in creating effective advertising messages is to plan the message strategy. What are we going to say, right? We need to think about the creative concept. That's what they call it, quote, creative concept that brings the message strategy to life. The creative concept guides us through how we're going to use various appeals used in an advertising campaign. The message can be presented in various execution styles, which we'll talk about in a minute, like slice of life, lifestyle, fantasy, mood or image. Then there's a bunch more. And then we might also have our consumers generate content. Right? Maybe we want to include a testimonial that somebody gave us, or maybe we want to run a contest and have them help us figure that out. So when we develop our advertising program and design our content, we probably want to look at several different broad ranges of content and broad ranges of appeals. So we might have something that's informational, right? Where we say, this is the feature, this is, think about toothpaste, right? What are the contents in the toothpaste? We might want to have a persuasive element, also known as a benefit. And the high-level appeals are fear, sex, and humor. Those are the things that you're going to see most often. So let's take a quick look at what those are. So you can see in the first ad on the left, that's definitely based on fear, right? Stop climate change before it changes you. None of us want to look like that. Sex appeal, the one in the middle, If you use Candy's products, you're going to look gorgeous like she does, right? And then finally, we all know the Geico Gecko and how interesting and creative that has been over time. Next, we want to think about creating the advertising message. So we might use a spokesperson, right? So you get Taylor Swift, when Taylor Swift wasn't quite as popular as she is today, promoting milk. And that might cost anywhere between a couple $1,000s to millions of dollars. We also have to think about the cost of the artwork, the photos, somebody who writes the copy, somebody who films the video, and then the location, right? All of those are parts of creating the ad. More specific appeals that we can look at include profit, gives us the where we set it up so that the ad tells people how they might save money, make money, or stop losing money. We might appeal to people through health consciousness, how we want people to feel about being body conscious, who want to be healthy. This is oftentimes used for selling cosmetics and perfumes. Fear, like we talked about a minute ago, but also can be centered around embarrassing people, or we don't want to have body odor, or we don't want to grow old. Admiration appeals highlights celebrity spokespersons because oftentimes people want to be like their favorite celebrity. Convenience can be used for fast food or other foods that make dinner time easy. Fun and pleasure are the keys to advertising vacations, beer, and much more. Vanity and egotism, those would be appeals for high-end cars, clothing, jewelry, things like that. And then environmentally consciousness centers around protecting the environment and being considerate of others. One of the things that we create when we create a new campaign is we create something called a unique selling proposition. A unique selling proposition is a desirable, believable, exclusive message about our product and our position in the campaign. So, for example, melts in your mouth, not in your hand isn't really a headline. It tells you what M&M's is. So we want to think about creating a unique selling proposition for any of our brands. When it gets to the execution style, right, we want to think about how to get our messages across, right? So here are some potential ways that we could put it together. So this would be the design of the ad. So we might use a slice of life execution style that depicts people in normal settings like the dinner table or in their car. You might think about or remember that a McDonald's commercials often shows this, kids eating Happy Meals. Lifestyle shows how the product fits into the consumer's lifestyle, right? You see this with cars, you see it with food. Many different kinds of brands use this. Testimonial spokesperson features a celebrity. You think about Beyonce being used as the face of Pepsi a few years ago. Fantasy creates a fantasy for the viewer built around the use of the product. Target did this really, really well for the 2015 holiday season. And then funny is great. Funny is always great, right? Progressive uses funny. Geico uses funny. And then we might have our own real, and some of these are crossovers, so you might have your own real or animated product, right? The Energizer Bunny, Charlie the Tuna, the Geico Gecko, the M&M's characters, right? Are all ways that we might do that. And that might also be symbols around our advertising. We could have a mood or image, right? You see this a lot with jewelry, creating a mood of romance around the jewelry. Then you might have a demonstration. Some of the high-end blenders are now doing this kind of thing where you actually see it see the blender working. You might also have a musical message where the message comes through via song. And then we have scientific kinds of evidence, based on research that has been conducted. 9 out of 10 dentist surveys said, Crest will give you whiter teeth and fresher breath. So I'm going to wrap this part 1 of advertising up and then move on with another video that will talk about selecting the advertising media.